It is 8 o'clock in the morning and the sun is already burning hot. I am 16 years old and I've been walking for 30 minutes. And as I get close to the school gates, I see they are closed. One of my teachers runs out and says, "Mohamed, it's not safe to be here. Go home and be careful." I feel defeated and disappointed, but not surprised. I know it means the war is breaking out again. I know it means roads will be closed again. I know it means fighters will be in the area and they might drop bombs on the school. Worst of all, I know they're looking for boys my age to conscript into the war as child soldiers. So I just keep walking. 10 years later, I'm now sitting somewhere extremely cool. It's cool because the air conditioner is at the perfect temperature. I'm sitting on this big brown leather armchair in what looks like a living room, but when I look out the window, I see cities and fields below us. I am on a corporate private jet. All around me, everybody is sitting on their laptop as though it's just like another day at work. And I think, this is the most exciting thing. How did I get here? How did this happen? I want to talk about it. I want to hear what others are thinking. I want to express how unbelievable this feels to me. So I turn to the person sitting across from me and I say, "Hey, this is my first time on a private jet." He looks up, smiles, and says, "Huh, enjoy it," and just goes back to work. Even though no one is as shocked about the whole thing as I am, I think, well, if I ever had any doubt whether I was doing okay, it's gone. Because to be here with these people on this plane, I must have done something right. The odds of me getting from that first scene to the second scene were incredibly slim. So many things had to go right, from the places I was in to the people I met. But the most important thing, education. According to UNESCO, 94% of the US people graduate from high school. In Somalia, where I'm from, it's less than 10%. And it's even worse in higher education. In the United States, about 10%, or in the United States, about 38% of the general population complete their higher education. In Somalia, that number is less than 3%. And it's no wonder Somalia is recovering from 30 years of civil war. The education infrastructure has crumbled. Over 60% of teachers are not trained to teach. Less than 15% of the schools have any on-site way of feeding their students. Most of them are not running at full capacity, in part because they have to use a shift system or send kids home to eat halfway through the day. When I first arrived in the US, I was a 19-year-old refugee who did not speak English. I was doing odd jobs in factories and warehouses, but with a lot of luck and the help of so many people, I was able to get an education that changed my life. And because of my education, I was able to land a job doing global health and social impact work at a huge multinational company. 4 years prior, I had barely heard of the company I was now working for and didn't even know that type of position was something people did for work. My education did not only unlock doors for me, it actually showed me that those doors existed and then walked me through them. It gave me the confidence and the courage to ask more of myself and the jobs I was given. And eventually, I was able to go on a private jet without overreacting. Well, mostly. Education is powerful. A quality education can make unimaginable difference in a person's life. And when it comes to transforming the progress of an entire country, education is the most powerful driver. If you want to reduce poverty, educate the youth. If you want healthier population, educate the youth. If you want more resilient and innovative society, educate the youth. I want you all to take a moment right now and ask yourselves, when it comes to helping a country in crisis like my home country of Somalia, what is the issue that you believe needs to be addressed first? Is it poverty, crime, or maybe unemployment? Whatever it is, I promise you, education is the most sustainable and the key to that issue. In the Somali language, the word for school is duksi. It means shelter. A school is a shelter from the heat and the cold, but also from poverty, violence, and extremist ideologies. So what does it take to put a young person through higher education, let's say in Somalia, my home country? From the student side, it's actually really simple. It takes just two things: personal drive and financial resources. The first, Somalia has plenty of. The second, it's severely lacking. I know passionate, driven, young students in Somalia who stay up late at night reading books by the light emanating from the window of a nearby business because that is the only light available to them. Students who would succeed and excel in education only if they were given the opportunity. Students who have everything it takes except financial resources. For low-income countries like Somalia, providing financial resources to these students is the 80-20 rule. These are bright, self-motivated, hard-working students. And in spite of all the challenges they face, they refuse to give up on their education, believing it's the only way out. These are the kids who are most likely to go on both to succeed in their careers and to give back to Somalia, improving the country for the next generation. Getting these students the resources they need to get into higher education will lead to a ripple effect that will sustain itself for years to come. But right now, that is not happening. According to a study by the Brookings Institute, when it comes to education, developing countries are an entire century behind developed countries. The study says, without a fundamental rethinking of our current approach to education, it's going to take another 100 years for children in developing countries to reach the education levels achieved in developed countries. That is at least 4 generations of people. This is not acceptable. There are currently many ideas and initiatives out there trying to improve education in developing countries. There are technology-based learnings trying to democratize the classroom, charities building new schools one after another, and governments dedicating a bigger portion of their budget towards education. This is all important work, but none of it is enough to close the 100-year gap. We need new, creative, and sustainable solutions. With this in mind, I have partnered with an organization that I think has a sustainable and scalable model to support education in developing countries. They are called the School Fund. I have partnered with the School Fund to work towards getting more students from Somalia through high school and into higher education. The School Fund is a nonprofit organization based in California. They partner with schools in developing countries, affordable, high-quality schools. And those schools find high potential students who are struggling to pay their tuition, just like those dedicated students that I know back home in Somalia. The School Fund takes the list of these students, features on their website, and fundraises for their education and other associated fees. To date, they have raised hundreds of thousands of dollars to support students in developing countries like Tanzania, Kenya, and India. It's a lean organization with a private fundraising stream for its operations. Every dollar raised for the students goes to the student. This crowdfunding approach is not brand new, but it's grossly underutilized for developing countries. It's different from a typical nonprofit because it does not create an overlapping capacity. It improves the local education system, and best of all, it ensures every dollar goes directly to the intended students. These successful students are most likely to go on and to be the driver behind the progress of their home countries. By donating or supporting this organization, anyone or any organization has the opportunity to support the progress of a developing country at a profound and systemic level. When I tell people my story, they often ask, what do you think your life would have been like if you had not come to the US? If you had not got into higher education? I don't need to guess, because I know. I know what happened to my friends, my cousins, my classmates. Kids that were more ambitious, smarter, and more hardworking, but did not get the same opportunity that I did. And where are they now? Some of them are in Somalia, unemployed. Some are sitting in my old refugee camp, having been there for more than 20 years. Some of my school friends tried to go to Europe, got into a boat, and died crossing the ocean. This needs to stop. With the type of kids we are working with at the School Fund, once given the resources to get into higher education, they will take the opportunity and run with it. They know what they want, and they will do it as long as they have the resources to do it. They will better themselves, and they will work even harder to better the lives of the kids in their home countries. And the cycle will continue. Stories like mine will no longer be remarkable. And that is how we close the 100-year gap. Thank you.